Okay, so I've drawn these meditations from actual meditations people do, and the first set are taken from acceptance and commitment therapy, or ideas from acceptance and commitment therapy, which is one of the third wave cognitive behavioural therapies. And then you'll notice that the feeling of what we're doing changes, becomes more poetical later, and that's taken from a 1500s meditation manual called Mahamudra from a certain Tibetan sect, the Kagyu Tibetan sect of Buddhism. But they both have the notion, or the idea, that there's something there that experiences. You'll see what I mean when we do that. So, the first one. Remember when you came in the room you're in now? Are you the same person now as you were then? It may seem so. In fact, it seems in some sense we're the same identical person. Of course, things change about us, even over small time periods. We learn new things and so on. But is there a you that remains identical, an essence that makes you you, that persists over time? If so, we need to find something that doesn't change, the core bit that remains constant over time. Let's consider what this could be. Look around the room. As you look around, your perceptions change. But you always have your perceptions from a certain point of view, the point where you seem to be located. The you that is there we will call the observing you. Notice how you are different from your perceptions, but it is always you doing the perceiving. Your observing you perceives the world, and also it can perceive your body. Look at your leg. Notice the observing you is looking at your leg. Now close your eyes and just be aware of where your leg is. There's the observing you again, being aware of your leg. Now pay attention to your feelings, pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. Your feelings may change. There is always a you that can be aware of them. This is the observing you again. And the same for your thoughts. Particular thoughts come and go, and there is always a you that can be aware of them. Intentions and desires change all the time. The intention to buy an ice cream, the intention to sit here. But there is a you that is aware of them. You are what is aware of perceptions, thoughts, feelings and intentions. Spend a few minutes noticing these categories of experience: perceptions, thoughts, feelings, intentions. And as you do so, notice there is a you being aware of them, starting with perceptions. So be aware of your perceptions and aware of the you that is aware of the perceptions. And now be aware of your thoughts and aware of the observing you being aware of the thoughts. Now be aware of your feelings and aware of the you being aware of the feelings. Now be aware of intentions, desires or urges, and aware of the you that is aware of them. Alright, good. So you can open your eyes. Now I'm going to ask you a question. To what extent is there a part of you that does not change? If you were to give me an answer to that, from 0%, everything about me changes, to 100%, there's a core part of me that does not change at all. And you can use any number in between. What do you reckon?
70-ish. I'd say about 70.
70%. Mm-hmm.
I was going to say about 80.
80%, okay.
Yeah, I'm on the 70s as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say 100%.
100%. Great. Good. So now we'll go to the next one. Second meditation. It seems that we are a self that is not just some part of the world, but separate enough from the world to act on it, to be different from the world. There is a boundary between us and the world, making us us. There is indeed something different about the observing self and the world outside. The observing self has a viewpoint. Tables do not have viewpoints. You have a perspective on the table, but not vice versa. And even if someone else has a perspective on you, it is not your perspective. You are unique in precisely your viewpoint. And in observing, you are at some distance from what is observed. In observing the table, you are not the table, but at some distance from it. Let us run through the different categories of experience we mentioned last time: perceptions, thoughts, feelings, intentions. And notice there is an observing you different from each experience, aware of the experience. Feel how there is some distance between the observing you and the thing observed. So now, starting with perceptions. And perceptions can be feelings of touch, the chair pressing against you, any warmth or coldness, your clothes, anything you see or hear, anything you smell, even perceiving where your body is a perception. Now notice how you doing the observing is different from being perceived. Thoughts. Now be aware of the thoughts that go through your mind. Be aware of the you observing the thoughts, but how it's different from any one thought. Now feelings, and by feelings I mean the positive or negative, pleasant or unpleasant, or neutral tone of any experience that you have. The pleasantness, unpleasantness, or neutralness. Just be aware of these feelings. And the distance there is between the observing you and the feeling. Now intentions, by which I mean any sort of urge or decision or desire to do something, anything, even to move your attention somewhere. So notice your intentions. Notice the observing you that notices the intentions, and that there's some distance between the observing you and the intention. Okay, that's good. You can open your eyes. So this is the question. To what extent are you separate from the world? If you give me a number from 0%, I'm in every part just the same as the external world. Or 100%, there's a core part of me entirely separate from the world. You can use any number in between. What do you reckon? Did you feel the distance between you and the thing you're observing, even though they were mental states?
Yeah.
Is that something you could sense?
A bit like philosophy sort of thing, like Descartesian sort of solipsistic sort of vibe, because it's like the separation between you and like the external.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's quite hard to quantify.
yeah.
Mm. Do you think the world, so there's a world out there and there's sort of maybe somewhere here, as you come in from the world, it's world stuff, is it like that all the way in? Or does there come a point where actually, no, this is qualitatively different, like I said before, you have a perspective in table stone?
Yeah, there is something there that is kind of distant and unaffected by everything else, separate from the experience itself,
Right.
or kind of conceptual.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, to that extent there is.
That's how it feels.
Distance.
Yeah. Anybody else want to comment on that?
I personally just feel heavier. I feel more self-tone and everything just feels heavy. So I don't think that's much of a difference. It just feels like I'm just sinking down with everything around.
Do you just by that? Do you mean you're getting more relaxed?
Not really relaxed. Just it's not even relaxation. Like even my fingers just feel like tighter and stuff like that.
Okay, as you're doing that meditation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't think there's much of a separation between everything else in me.
No. So you're feeling you're a part of the universe as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So about 40.
40%. Okay. Yeah.
It's probably a stretch.
Yeah. Okay. Should we move on to the third one? Third meditation. Do you have parts? I mean the real you, the unchanging you. The observing self feels like a point. The point from which you view. In that sense it does not have parts. You are just you. And you are the same you, no matter what you are observing. Let us run through the different categories of experience we mentioned last time. Perceptions, thoughts, feelings, intentions. Notice the observing you in each case, being aware of these states. Notice that it is the same you, aware of thoughts, as is aware of intentions, as is aware of feelings, as is observing the world. So start with perceptions. Just get a sense of the you that's observing the perceptions if you can. Now, catch your thoughts, be aware of your thoughts, and see if it seems like it's the same you, aware of the thoughts, as was aware of the perceptions. And feelings. Be aware of the feelings, which mean the pleasant or unpleasant or neutral tone of your experiences. Observe them and see if it's still the same you or seems to be. Now same for intentions. Okay. You can open your eyes. This is the question. There is a me that cannot be reduced any further. 0% means I'm a heap of parts. Bits of me can be taken away or changed. And 100% means there's a core me that cannot be changed. Are you indivisible? Or can you be broken into bits and changed?
It's about 80%. Feels like the observing me is like, feels like it's the same.
Feels like
all
the same.
all
Yeah.
the time. But
Yeah.
like the intentions, the emotion and everything, it's like constantly changing.
So the emotions and intentions, so on, they were changing.
And like the thoughts and that feel like separate parts, but like the observing.
But the observing you was the same.
Yeah.
Yes. Right.
I'd agree with that. I think the thing that felt most like the observing me was more the intentions than like the emotions and stuff. But I don't know if it's just because we're also like cognitive and like planning and stuff, and we're used to that being like the rational part and doing like the most like vital part to get stuff done. So
Right.
that's why it's more like indivisible than other aspects, which kind of like, if you think like emotions kind of just act upon you, you don't generally incentivize them. So maybe that's the difference. But
Yeah, there is a line of thinking that somehow it's your will, your command centre. The Stoics believe this. That is the you, the real you, as it were. Which fits in with what you're saying.
Yeah, I agree that there's something unchangeable, despite we can change in lots of different ways over time. But there is something that takes careful observation.
There's the core self there,
Yeah.
always.
And when you uncover it, you will see that it doesn't change.
Right. Good. Now, actually, we're going to get on to the very point you just mentioned.
okay.
Next meditation. Well predicted. So, day 4. If you wanted someone else to raise their arm, you could ask them, but they might refuse. I can't just intend for Agatha to raise her arm and then for it to rise. Yet typically my own arm rises when I will it. There she goes. In some, I can control bits of me more easily than bits of other people. So maybe myself is what I can control. The observing self might seem passive. What perceptions you observe depends on the world, but it also depends on what you attend to. Even if your body is tied up, you can move your attention around. Even if you have a strong sensation attracting your attention, you can attend to it more or less closely. You control your attention, even if partially. Further, you can make decisions. You decide whether to obey someone, to do something else, or to do something else. You can decide to think about one topic or another, and your decision has an effect. You can also make judgments. You can judge whether 2 + 2 = 4, and nobody can force you to judge otherwise. With a gun to your head, you might say otherwise, but they cannot force you to judge otherwise. The same for any political or moral judgment or judgment of beauty. No matter what power someone has, can they force you to judge as wrong something you think is right? Now spend a minute changing your perceptions by changing your attention. I'll just abbreviate it slightly. Spend some time changing your thoughts by deciding to think about a certain topic. Spend some time considering some judgments that are important to you that no one could force you to change. Okay. Who wills and judges all these things? Is it the same you as the observing you? Consider the you that willed something 5 minutes ago. Is it the same you that wills something now? Alright, you can open your eyes. To what extent is there a part of you that you can always control? 0% there's nothing about me that I can control, and 100% there's a core part that can control itself.
I'd say about like 60.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say the same.
Oh my god, it's going to kill me. I'd say about 60.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't control my thoughts that well, though.
You cannot.
Yeah. Just anyway, get distracted.
But you can to some degree.
Very slightly. I can
Right.
maybe bring a thought to the forefront, but
Yeah.
then it's clouded by all the other thoughts.
They all pop in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll be like starting with, oh, bananas are nice. Yeah, I really want to do some curry today, and then just go out with that.
So you decided to think about bananas, for example, but then
Yeah,
that goes
and then everything
into
goes-
pre-associates
yeah.
and other stuff. Yeah. This is, as I said, this is taken from Stoicism, this particular line of thinking. And according to them, even though you might not have full control now, the sage does have such control, and that's the one thing the sage can always control, is what the mind judges as good and bad and decisions it makes.
See, I'd say that there are, again, there's something that needs to be uncovered, that you might only become aware of when everything else is stripped away, where there is complete control, free will, in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
But, obviously there's a lot involved with, our lives in terms of social influence and patterns and routines, behaviours and things that we have to do, So, to that extent, we don't have full control over what we do, but again, like if you're just lying in bed about to go to sleep, and you kind of strip back everything else, there is something that you have complete control over.
Right. That exists for you, but you don't have that control over someone else's mind.
Yeah.
So it's something to do with the self. Yeah. Okay, we'll do the sixth meditation. We have a clear notion that we are a self. Who is the me who is listening to this now? You can catch that me, or at least your sense of it, in any moment. The I that acts, that feels, that sees, that has plans. The observing self that is aware of whatever happens in the world, and whatever mental states happen. Find your sense of that self. Now hold that sense in your mind. Whatever happens in your mind, whatever perceptions, thoughts, feelings or intentions arise, notice the self that has those experiences, the self that can observe them. Spend a few minutes being aware of yourself. Okay. So this is sort of a consolidation of what we've done previously before we move on to something rather different. The question is, to what extent is there a part of you that does not change? Which you asked before. 0% everything about me changes. 100% there's a core part that does not change at all.
Yeah, I'm sticking with 100%.
100%. Yeah.
Mine is a little bit higher now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably about 80.
Okay. So this way, these sort of exercises and thinking has strengthened that sense.
Yeah.
Yes. Good.
Probably stay around 70.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's about 80.
Okay. Now we're going to move on to Mahamudra. So this is meditations that were developed, well, there's a manual from the 1500s, which I read the English translation of, and has been used ever since. So you'll see the different flavour. So, day 7. Thoughts and experiences in the mind may be like clouds in the sky. Clouds come and go. They can be stormy or light and fluffy, but there is always the sky that holds them. Just so, thoughts and experiences come and go, but there is always you that holds them. Thoughts and experiences in the mind may be like waves on the ocean. Waves can be stormy or mere ripples. They come and go, but there is always the ocean. Waves arise from the ocean and dissolve back into it. The depths of the ocean are calm. But on its surface, the ocean makes the waves. The waves arise from the ocean and become simply the ocean as they disappear. Notice the perceptions that arise in your mind. Now ask yourself, from where do they arise? Catch a perception and see, can you tell from where did it arise? Where do they go? When it's gone, where did it go? What contains them? Notice the thoughts that arise in your mind. For each thought that you notice, ask yourself, from where did it arise? Where did it go? What is it that held that thought? Is it like watching waves in the ocean? They come from nowhere, they go to nowhere, contained by the ocean. The waves come and go from nowhere because they are of the same nature, no matter they are small or big. They're all made of the ocean. Do your thoughts seem to be like this if you watch them? Now notice the feelings that arise in your mind, and for each one ask yourself, from where did it arise? Where did it go? What contains it? Again, it might seem to come and go from nowhere, but each one may feel contained by you, held by you, the you that is always there, like the ocean. Now notice the intentions and desires that arise in your mind, and for each one ask yourself, from where did it arise? Where did it go? What contains it? Does it seem like you're the ocean that holds these waves on your surface? Okay, you can open your eyes. Question is, to what extent is there a continuing self? 0%, there is nothing that could be regarded as a self that continues. 100%, there's a self that continues. 100%.
60, 70.
Okay. Feel the difference with this one. With the observing self, we shrunk you to a point. Now we're sort of expanding you to the ocean that contains everything.
Yeah, completely different.
Completely different, yeah. Almost the opposite, but
Yes.
with the sense that still, there you are. As you were saying before about, I'm not sure if you said calm or something like that.
Mm.
But here's the explicit metaphor. There's the depths of the ocean that are calm. That's always there.
Yeah, I think it's an incredible metaphor.
Yeah.
Very potent.
Yes.
I think I found this one a bit harder to visualise. I
Mm.
don't know, I feel like the point was like a lot clearer and that was like focus and not get distracted. But I was like, I don't know, it's kind of hard to picture like a whole ocean and all your little thoughts being waves. Just like, I know it's a lot more to like have in your head. I feel like it detracted from how much I was in it because it was like struggling with the metaphor more.
Yes, yes.
I have the opposite feeling. I find this one so much easier to get lost into it.
Mm.
At some point I was feeling my body as if I was in the ocean, like just these waves of it.
Yes.
If you've watched enough ocean documentaries,
Maybe that helps. Yes.
but you have all of the action and kind of activity is at the top.
Yes.
Where
Yes.
like the feeding happens and this the
Yes.
waves and the crashes.
Can be quite chaotic from
Yeah.
top.
And
Yes.
then underneath it's just an infinite kind of calmness.
Right.
Infinite is the right word, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
That's
if
the
you're
oceanic
watching
feeling. Yeah.
an ocean documentary, you can see like a pod of whales
Mm-hmm.
all kind of sleeping in the depths.
Mm.
From the camera it looks like they could be tiny fish based on how vast everything is around them.
Yes.
And it kind of puts into perspective that it is just kind of fathomable how enormous it is.
Yeah.
That I think is a perfect metaphor for consciousness.
And you felt that feeling?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So we continue with this metaphor now, so we'll see if you can...
I feel like the well analogy helped a bit.
Yes.
I'm
yes.
there.
Great. Okay, 8th meditation. Once again, think of the waves forming and disappearing on the surface of the ocean. There is always the still calm depths of the ocean. Yet the ocean has waves on the surface, made of itself, sometimes calm, sometimes frothy. No matter how peaceful or violent the wave, it is of the same ultimate nature, that of the ocean, the salty water. All waves taste of salt. Maybe you are the ocean, always there, deep down unchanging. Notice perceptions that form in your mind. Is there something similar about each perception? Each perception has a quality of knowing, of awareness. It is always aware of something. Spend a bit mentally comparing some perceptions to see if you can notice this. Now notice your thoughts as they arise and pass. Some thoughts may be calm, other thoughts energetic like giant stormy waves. But what is similar about each thought? Can you notice an awareness in each, as if each thought were a light, making something clear? Spend some time to notice this. Now notice your feelings, pleasant, unpleasant or neutral, as they arise and pass. What is similar about every feeling? Again, can you determine an awareness intrinsic to each, the same essential nature? Does not each feeling make something clear and makes you aware of something? Spend a minute to notice this. Now notice your intentions and desires. How are they similar? Do they have an awareness as part of them? spend a minute to notice this. If all mental states have a quality in common, awareness or clarity, then there's always that quality, no matter what happens in your mind. The quality of awareness is always there. Maybe your mental states are like waves on the ocean. Maybe you are the ocean. All your mental states are in their essence the same. Alright, you can open your eyes. To what extent is there an essence of you that is always the same? 0%, there's no unchanging essence. 100%, there is unchanging essence.
So,
Change it to 75.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in the 80s.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say like close to 100 now.
Wow, great. Good. We'll do 9. The world constantly changes. It is unpredictable. Even the surface of your own mind can become stormy in response. But you are the calm awareness at the centre of the storm. Whatever happens, there you are. You are the clarity, the awareness that shines. If you are the ocean, you are the calm depths that are always there, even if the surface storms. Notice an emotion that passes through your mind. If you do not feel any particular emotion, bring one to mind. Now watch it closely. What is it exactly? Investigate this emotion. Be curious in looking at it. What sensations does it consist of? What thoughts does it consist of? What intentions does it consist of? Does it dissolve under inspection? Now, for 1 minute, as you breathe in, say to yourself ocean, and as you breathe out, say calm. Okay. The question is, I can sense the unchanging me amongst all my experiences. 0%, there is no unchanging me, it is an illusion. 100% have a full real sense of the unchanging me.
Closer to the 90s now.
No?
Yeah.
Pushing you up.
Yeah.
Did you? I don't know if any of you got hold of an emotion and then tried to inspect it. And did you see it was hard to see what it was exactly?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So this is the sort of Mahamudra point that when you take a mental state and try and see what it is, you can't really see what it is. It seems to be nothing there. This is one way of getting at the Buddhist notion of emptiness. And where that fits into this sort of ocean metaphor, what the Mahamudra people say is all mental states of the same nature, clarity, awareness, which we did, and emptiness. But it's all that, it's all the same. So that's how you're like the ocean.
It's hard to feel the emptiness when your body feels so much of it as well.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's an emotion, I'll feel it in my body, like in my throat and in my stomach.
Yeah.
So I don't get the emptiness of it.
Does the emotion stay there? So you can say, there's this feeling in my throat, or my chest, or my stomach. But is that the emotion? Or is that a sensation in my stomach?
I think it was brought up by the emotion, or maybe the emotion made it more.
Yeah, but was it the emotion?
At that point, it wasn't. Yeah.
But then you do the same trick with your sensations that you feel. You say, what are they exactly? Anyway, that's the Mahamudra way of looking at it. Every mental state has emptiness and clarity. It's all the same. And you're just the ocean where there's ripples around.
That makes sense.
Any other comments? Are you getting on with the ocean metaphor now?
Yeah, a bit better. Yeah.
Right.
I don't know, I think it's just quite hard to I don't know, when you think that there's one part of you that's consistent, because even that part I don't feel is that consistent. If I look back, say, 2 years, things like my views and how I respond to things emotionally and stuff is very different. So I feel like it can't be this completely consistent, untouchable thing that's me, because I feel like that shifts. So
I think it depends on your conception of me, because the way I see it is there is something that you might not be aware of, your entire life, that is always there, and it's only when you kind of inspect it, whether it's meditation or breathing exercises or whatever it is, but it's underneath, the more prominent, ego, the kind of I that you're more kind of resonant with on a daily basis, because that's how you navigate the world, that we live in. It's not often that you get a chance to kind of strip it back and look at what's underneath. But yeah, from my perspective, it's there is something unchanging, and it might not be recognizable as what you are. You might not consider it that, but it is there.
what is it then if it's not you? Is it just your conscious awareness, or is it?
It depends on who you ask. It's some people say it's the true self, or the kind of greater consciousness that we're all kind of a part of. But it's not easy to describe, really.
This metaphor is the depths of the ocean, which manifest themselves differently on the surface.
Yeah, the surface is constantly changing.
Yeah.
Always different. So using that metaphor, then the act of meditation is kind of looking beneath the waves at the ocean underneath.
Okay. We'll do the final one now. 10. Consider again yourself as an ocean, that which holds whatever mental states happen. Spend a few minutes noticing whatever mental states arise and noticing there's always yourself in the background. They are your mental states. They come from you and dissolve back into you as they disappear. Just as the ocean persists over the time, so do you. See if you can notice this for yourself. However turbulent or calm the mental states, they're all of the same essence. They come from you and dissolve back into you. But there you are, always. You can open your eyes. To what extent is there a part of you that does not change from 0 to 100?
This is a hard one, because personally for me, I don't like the idea of being the same, so like I'm combating these meditations every single time. I'm like, I'm not, I'm different.
Well, I just gave a lecture on how you're not.
The answer will probably be 80s now, but
Okay.
very standardly.
Still at 100%.
You've been a solid 100,
Yeah.
So that's the strengthening self intervention that people will do. One of those 5 minutes or so a day. But what we'll do next week, having built you up, you can have a cup of tea, and then next week we'll break you down again. Let me stop the recording.